Good afternoon, Berlin. It's so good to be back. So many familiar faces, friendly faces. This is tourism at its best. Welcome to day 2 of the ITB convention. My name is Willy Legrand. I'm a professor at the IU International University of Applied Sciences in Germany, and it's really my pleasure to host this afternoon session, actually. As we embrace the convention's motto, and you know the convention's motto is "The power of transition lives here," we have to remember that progress is achieved when we travel together. And I think this afternoon it's very much about building a tourism or world that really knows no barriers. Maybe that's the first message we can say. The German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, short BMZ, and the GIZ do not always focus on the simple issues of tourism. In fact, over the years, they've also examined quite critical issues, questions, discuss the improvements that must be made in this sector. So this first session here highlights that crucial contribution of women in shaping the tourism sector. And this session aligns well with the BMZ's commitment to a feminist development policy. This approach not only champions a global justice and prosperity, but fosters, of course, social cohesion for all. And today, leaders of the tourism industry, in collaboration with the German government, will pledge to advance gender equality and empower women within their organization by endorsing the Women's Empowerment Principles, short WEPs. These principles are co-founded by UN Women and the UN Global Compact, guides us in dismantling discriminatory structures and enhancing women's rights, resources, and representation. So this commitment really marks a significant step towards fostering sustainable and inclusive practices within the global tourism sector. So let's learn, let's discuss, let's inspire change together. And to guide us further into the heart of today's theme, we have a special contribution from a leading figure in advancing women's rights and empowerment. So I'm really honored to introduce a video address by Ms. Corry Mahdi. She's Deputy Executive Director for Resource Management, Sustainability, and Partnership at UN Women. Ms. Mahdi her role really places her at the forefront of international efforts to foster sustainable development and, of course, gender equality. So let's turn our attention to the screen as we hear from Ms. Corry Mahdi, please.
State Secretary Flushbarth, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by expressing UN Women's gratitude to the government of Germany for convening this important event, for our great collaboration, as well as Germany's leadership in advancing gender equality and women's empowerment globally. Tourism is one of the world's largest economic sectors, connecting cultures, driving economies, and supporting livelihoods. It employs over 300 million people globally. 54% of them are women. Yet, many women in the industry face challenges, such as exposure to harassment and gender-based violence, as well as harmful social norms which limit their job and leadership opportunities. This must change. From creating safe workplaces to ensuring equal pay and living wages, gender equality must be embedded across the entire tourism industry. This is where initiatives such as Women's Empowerment Principles play a crucial role. It offers a clear roadmap to over 11,000 CEOs to foster responsible business practices which empower women, including through equal pay, gender-responsive supply chain practices, and zero tolerance against violence and sexual harassment in the workplace. I would like to thank all of you who are becoming new signatories today and those who have made a commitment to action. Together, let us turn commitments into meaningful progress and ensure the tourism sector is a true force for inclusive growth and sustainable development. I thank you.
We can give everyone a thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Mahdi, for those compelling insights and your steadfast commitment to advancing gender equality and sustainability across the globe. It's clear that collaboration, this is what you've mentioned, and informed leadership are quite pivotal in pushing these critical agendas forward. So we're continuing with the theme of influential leadership and direct action. It is really my pleasure to introduce our next distinguished speaker. He is the State Secretary at the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, and his insights will bridge our understanding of those global frameworks to national actions and contribution towards a more inclusive world. So Mr. Flasbach plays a key role in shaping policies that not only respond to today's socioeconomic challenges, but also strive to create a more equitable and sustainable future. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Eoghan Flasbach to the stage.
Dear Uta Hergenröther, dear Dieter Janicek, ladies and gentlemen, CEOs from tourism industry, representatives from tourism associations, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, real pleasure to be here at the ITB Berlin 2025 and to open this very significant event. And saying so, it should not come as a surprise that we feel privileged to be here to collaborate with you as BMZ followed a feminist development policy over the last 3.5 years, and we were promoting exactly this inclusivity. Let me say this right at the beginning. Germany, also with a new incoming government, will stay committed to UN Women, to all other gender-linked UN institutions like UNFPA. We will not follow the track that others have chosen. So this, colleagues, is a moment. This moment is a result of a very powerful collaboration. UN Women, the tourism industry, and tourism associations coming together for a shared vision. Today, we are taking an important step towards equality as representatives of the tourism sector, committed to the UN women's empowerment principle of UN Women, the WEP, shaping a more inclusive and equitable future. In all our international projects, government and programs, the BMZ, the Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development in Germany, aims to eliminate systematic inequalities worldwide and promotes empowerment of women and girls. It strives for a just and inclusive society where all people have equal opportunities and rights. Strengthening women's rights is not only morally right, but also important from an economic perspective. The equality means business concept emphasizes that promoting gender equality is not only a matter of human rights, but a crucial driver of economic growth and sustainable business development. Closing the gender gap on the labor market could help to raise the global GDP by 20%. What are we losing without closing this gap? The WEP principles are an important and a really wonderful tool. They provide business worldwide with guidance for promoting gender equality and empowering women in the economic sector. I'm very grateful for this important initiative of UN Women and the UN Global Compact. The signing of the Women Empowerment Principles by representatives of the German tourism industries sends a very strong signal and is a clear commitment to gender equality. It shows that companies can take responsibilities and concrete steps to promote women's rights at a time when other actors, as I said, are trying to restrict or abolish women's rights. The tourism industry is a driver of gender equality. It holds huge potential for women's economic empowerment due to the high proportion of female employees. It offers unique opportunities to overcome traditional role models, create innovative career pathways, and promote women at all levels, from starting a career at the hotel industry to managing their own company. Despite their significant contributions, women often face challenges such as the gender pay gaps, limited of opportunities to advancement, and underrepresentation on the level of leaderships. It is therefore crucial to make measures to eliminate these inequalities. Colleagues, this is not just an issue for the countries of the Global South. We are therefore very pleased to be launching this initiative together with the Ministry of Economy and Climate Action. The government and you, the signatories, want to reach more companies and associations in the tourism industry and beyond for this sector to sign in. I would like to thank all companies and associations that are here today and have made their signature public. In doing so, they are taking a lead role for this topic in industry. Let's work together to promote gender equality in the tourism industry, not just as a moral imperative, but also to make our societies stronger. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Flassbach, for this enlightening keynote address. We also see, obviously, the positive economic impact of closing that gender gap. I think this was made clear through your address. It is my pleasure to welcome our next esteemed speaker for a welcome address, Mr. Dieter Janecek. Mr. Janecek serves as the government coordinator for the maritime industry and tourism at the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Action here in Germany. His work directly influences how tourism can serve as a force for good. So let's extend a warm welcome to Mr. Dieter Janecek. Please come to the stage.
So ladies and, is it working? Yeah, it's working, perfect, thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm very grateful to celebrate the signing of the Women's Improvement Principles with you today. Just prior to this event, I attended a females leaders lunch, not lounge, was also lounge, sort of. I'm happy to see that female empowerment plays an important role at this year's ITB and hopefully in the future. A big thank you to all the organizations that are here today and have decided to commit to greater equality and empowerment for women. A lot of work still needs to be done in terms of gender equality also in tourism, maybe especially in tourism. If you look to the leadership positions, there's a lot to be done. If you simply look at the, proportion of women in management positions or the differences in earning between women and men, this becomes obvious. More than 50% of the workforce in tourism worldwide are women, but at the CEO level, as I mentioned, the majority definitely is still men, and it's definitely in Germany is still men. We cannot afford this, neither in social terms nor, interestingly, in economic terms. Studies show that companies with women in top management are more successful at the financial markets. Also, mind you, they set climate protection goals that are more ambitious, which is important in our world. It seems they care more about the state of the world than male managers do. Well, that's kind of obvious if you look at the political side at United States, for example. So better opportunities for women increase the attractiveness of a company as an employer. They are therefore key to addressing the shortage of skilled workers. I'm convinced that scrapping diversity programs, as it is happening now on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, will sooner or later backfire on businesses and the entire economy. Therefore, we need a joint effort from both government and businesses to bring more women into senior management positions across all industries and certainly also in tourism, where the majority of the workforce is female. One example of joint action, the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Action is currently funding the Move for Female Transformation project, which together with important industry partners aims to improve career opportunities for women in the tourism industry. And all of you, by signing the Women's Empowerment Principles today, are demonstrating leadership. Thank you for that. Congratulations. Let us continue to work together to advance gender equality in tourism. I wish you a very successful ITB 2025. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I was very happy to read a couple days ago in the news, and it's great to hear that some of the large companies, hospitality companies, have stood up, some of the CEOs, to say that DEI is actually part of the hospitality DNA, and we will stand for this. It's good. So thanks very much for this address. So I'd like to actually, we have an amazing amount of front row people that have supported the web. So what we'll do is we'll try to go a little bit more into detail within the tourism sector. And so it's quite a pleasure to actually introduce our next panelist, and each will bring a little bit of a unique viewpoint and a wealth of experience, of course, to our discussion today. So first we have Ms. Uta Ergenröther. She's the head of the UN Women National Committee Berlin office at the UN Women Germany. Welcome, Ms. Ergenröther. Yeah, you can come up straight to the stage, of course, yes. It's a pleasure to have you. You can actually take a spot right here. Thank you. And joining as well will be Mr. Sven Liebert, Secretary General at the Federal Association of the German Tourism Industry. Sven, come on up. And joining last on stage will be Ms. Anna Grodzki, Managing Director of Matoke Tours. Welcome. It's great to have you all on stage. So I'll turn straight to you, Uta. Maybe we can say with first word. I'm Willie, so you're Uta. It's the Canadian in me, I think. So today's signing of the WEPs by so many enterprises, right, from the tourism sector, that lays a little bit an important foundation, right, to the work that is to be done. Could you share how UN Women will support these companies moving forward, and what expectations do you have from those signatory companies?
So first of all, thank you so much for having this big space to talk about the WEPs. And thank you so much for all of you turning up in such big numbers. It's very encouraging to see this. Thank you also to my two fellow panelists here. So yes, as it was mentioned earlier through Herr Flassbart, but also Kirsi Mahdi, the tourism sector has an enormous potential in disseminating the WEPs further. So of course, at first we would like to continue our very successful and also effective collaboration with the BMZ and AWE in supporting the WEP signatories. And to drive forward gender equality. And of course, we would like to hear from the signatories themselves what their specific needs are, because it's such a large number of companies signing up within the tourism industry that really marks the beginning of an exciting journey. So we would like to hear from the signatories what their needs are in terms of guidance, resources, platforms maybe where they can share their experiences, their lessons learned or their strategies, but also where they can and how they do it to track and report on their progress. So it's more like I would like to throw the ball back, as you say, to please approach us with your needs, as we are all on a learning journey and a very exciting journey. It's the WEPs is just the beginning of that journey. So we are there with guidance. Our WEPs team at the headquarters is always approachable. There are toolkits, there are webinars. So just feel free to approach us. Every company needs a customized strategy. So we are very happy to guide you in that or to accompany that process with you.
That's great. So you've mentioned knowledge sharing is actually a big part, I would imagine.
Yes.
The tourism sector employs a lot of women, of course, in many positions. How much importance do you attach to this sector in driving forward in that dissemination towards your work? So in talking, how much can we move as a sector? How important are we for you?
Yes, no, definitely I have to give you the credit. As it was mentioned, the workforce, and there are so many work opportunities in the tourism sector for women. They play the majority, so it's also on the tourism sector to play a leading role and go forward as an example for equal opportunities in the workplace. Also for promoting diversity, as we heard, which is, confronted by a big backlash nowadays, and of course to improving working conditions in general. So it can definitely lead the way, I would say. Yes, I think you shouldn't underestimate your power and also of today's signatures. So you can lead the way by example and show that it's possible if you actually commit to gender equality, that it will have a benefit for your company, but also, of course, looking at the broader society for a change.
That's great. I mean, the tourism industry, so I do a lot on different sustainability front, and I could see that tourism over the past few years has gained confidence on many of those topics. Actually, as a leader, we're often being seen as as an industry that follows, but in fact, in many of those topics, your argument is to say, lead the way.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
So I turn to you, Sven. Your organization actually is one that signed the WEPs, and so what sort of initiatives are you planning, or what's in the store for you?
I mean, I can just say thank you for realizing that we should be one of the leaders, because we as tourism industry think so too. So therefore, what does it mean? I mean, signing is one easy thing. You just do a signature and then the magic comes afterwards. So what is important for us that we keep on going. So last year we had an incredible journey with lots of partners, some of them are already here, to drive this change forward. What does it mean in concrete words? We got a nice supporting by the BMWK for the Ministry for Economic Affairs. And they just were saying, okay, let's go for a project which we call Move for Female Transformation. So it's not big magic what we did, but the consequence was really nice, because Mr. Janicek just told that he came from a leaders' lunch, and that was part of the project. So what we did was two ways. One way was bringing together so many great people in the tourism industry we already know, and to build a network. Because some research which Professor Claudia Brösel did was that one main reason why this network doesn't work, because male networks are always stronger. So we need to create a powerful network on the one hand. And that was the first main goal, and that was something we really achieved. So now we have a nice Verteiler, so a nice, how do you say it?
Distribution.
So we have a nice distribution list with over 200, 250 decision makers out of the tourism industry, and they are coming together 3 times a year to debate, of course, the movement of the sector, about new business insights, and of course creating a network which makes a difference. And we will do, as Federal Association of German Tourism Industry, we will do it 2 times a year to keep this going. Network is not enough. Thanks.
Great.
So, and of course, network is not enough. I mean, it's not like, hey, we do a network and then everything will just work. We need to be a bit more concrete here. And something else we did in the project Move for Female Transformation, and this was the real magic, was that we had some workshops in companies who said we really want to change something, and we really want to emphasize men, what they are doing in their everyday life, and how they can be a supporter of female leadership. And we just realized that there's so many different perspectives out of these workshops. We had to convince some of the companies really to do that. We had some companies who were all directly open-minded. Give me the moderator and we do it. But to keep this going, that would be something which would be really nice during the next years. But of course, we talk about resources, so it's not always easy to handle it easy. But it needs both, the network and the change inside the company with external moderators and the willingness to change. And then I think the leadership role would be very nice for the industry.
It's fantastic. I mean, I think, Sven, you said it right, and I think in terms of dissemination, you might want to say that to other people that haven't signed, is the magic come afterwards. Do the signing, and then you'll see what happens, which is great. Anna, I turn to you. So you have Matoke Tours. Could you elaborate a little bit on your decision as well to endorse the WEPs, and perhaps what do you intend to do and to pursue sort of the gender equality?
Yeah. Yes, sure, thank you. I have to say for us, I agree with the magic probably happens after signing, but for us, I see it more as a culmination of activities of the past couple of years. So as Matoko Tours, we are DMC based in Uganda, I should mention. So we really do believe that at the core of our business and our guiding principle has to be that not only our experiences are once in a lifetime journeys for our travelers, but also they reflect the respect we have for the destination and its people, and we don't want to do business which is extractive and exploitative, but rather we really actively need to make sure that there's a net positive of what we contribute to thriving communities and environments. So especially in the last 5 years, we have been quite active on the gender empowerment part. So this has materialized, for example, in female tour guide trainings, which we did, which were co-funded by GIZ at that point, which was really an amazing start for us to really get a lot of exposure out there. So not only to benefit as a company, but to inspire other colleagues within our tourism sector. What is really important to us before we even started like an action plan and decided on what we want to do was really to pause and listen. And it sounds like such a simple step, but in particular in the environment where you are, it's so important to know what the actual challenges are. We hear barriers, we hear challenges, but what does that mean in actual terms? So we really took time to speak to our tour guides, everyone along our value chain, our partners as well, to understand what do you need us to do and how do we leverage our power as a business, as a relatively big business in the sector, to actually help you achieve your goals. So some of the actions that we want to do going forward is to continue with our Women in Tourism Leadership Bootcamp, because there's not enough opportunities for women who already are in tourism to progress in their careers. There are not enough role models, in particular in our environment in Uganda, of women in tourism that would give parents, partners, families the even a good feeling about someone working in tourism. So we need to really work on the image of this as well. And this is where we come in as a business, as an employer, on like, this is how we create a safe, respectable environment for you to work in. Some smaller tweaks were also just to provide a platform and a space for sharing experiences. So we have an open invitation to female tour guides, to other partners, whenever you want to use our facilities, just to come together and have a safe space to share. You're welcome anytime. In our guide training, which we do once a year for 90% male guides, we have an element on addressing those challenges just to get them in as allies and also understand the challenges their female colleagues face. So those are just a few small actions, but they have gone a long way. And maybe just to tie back my last point into the economic growth, which is mentioned so much, for us it has really materialized into more business and the right kind of business, because I really see that we are approached and our approach also resonates with the right kind of partners that we are looking at. We really have a value alignment, and those are the people we want to work with. Those are the people whose clients we want to have on tour with us. So I can really say it has been also on the business side, it has translated into a positive impact for us.
That's great, thank you so much. And for those of you who are interested, in fact, Anna was on a panel last year and she explained a little bit more about those boot camps. And so you can go, because all of this is saved. I think we have the recording of all of this ITB session, so you can go and find out some more. We need to wrap up this discussion. Uta, the last words, you have the last word. These are your closing words. Perhaps you want to say something about, again, the dissemination, and what call of actions do you have for us?
Thank you very much. First of all, this sounds very exciting, what you say, and it aligns with, yes, what the trends is, that equality is good for business, besides everything else, good for business. So thank you for giving me the chance to make a last call. As we said, signing is just the beginning, so now it's the time to take action, and we have in front of us an exciting and important journey to integrate gender equality in your companies, but not only in the policies and strategies on papers, but also actually in the operations and in the workplace culture. And as we heard, for this, it really requires strong and courageous and also curious leadership. As you also said, it requires customized strategies where you involve all the stakeholders down the supply chain. And also, not to forget, of course, women should be at the decision table from day one. And maybe lastly, it is a whole organizational approach. Like all departments need to be involved, and also, of course, to be taken accountable then. And we are very happy, UN Women is very happy, and I'm sure BMZ and AWE as well, to accompany you further on this exciting journey.
Thank you so much. It's great. So yes, please, a round of applause. Well done. Please stay here. So I'd like to take a moment to celebrate this commitment, actually, officially. I invite all the companies that are representing here, company representative and signatories, along with Mr. Flasbach, Mr. Janecek, to come to the stage. We'll take a picture, we'll take a photograph to capture this moment. So if you please, I'm going to try to do this on stage, I understand, with all of us, correct? So just, if you want, we could maybe move this backwards a little bit. I think we might have to build 2 rows. I'm looking at our photograph. Yep. It's going okay? Yeah. All right. For the audience, please stick around. We'll go on a short break after this and have our next session, which will be exciting. Woo! Thank you so much. You have got 10 minutes to network, to get a coffee, to get your water. Come back here, 14:45. In 10 minutes is geht weiter. We continue, right? Come back in 10 minutes.